Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents The Path to Self-Love and World Domination. Break free from self-limiting beliefs and embrace your power. By Heidi Green. Narrated by Marni Penning. The material in this book is intended for education. It is not meant to take the place of diagnosis and treatment by a qualified medical practitioner or therapist. No expressed or implied guarantee of the effects of the use of the recommendations can be given or liability taken. Introduction. Whatever the question, the answer is love. Dr. Wayne Dyer. I suppose a book with such a lofty promise in the title requires a few qualifiers. Spoiler alert, this book is unlikely to result in actual world domination. That said, I intend to set you on the path to dominate your own world, be the master of your destiny, and create the life of your dreams. This is not a lofty promise. Although it's a big undertaking, it is also a realistic possibility. You picked up this book for a reason. Your inner critic is running rampant. Your self-limiting beliefs are controlling your life. You have big dreams, but lack the self-confidence to pursue them. You feel unworthy. You long for inner peace and self-love. I get it. Wherever you are in your life right now, however treacherous the journey seems, whatever dark cavern you may have wandered into, there is hope for you. You are powerful, capable, beautiful, and deserving. You may not feel that today, but do not fret. I am going to help you understand why you may not feel that way now, and show you how you can rewire your self-limiting thoughts to reach your full potential. This book will give you the tools you need to love yourself fully, trust in your capabilities, and live an abundant life. I am going to help you create your personal self-love suitcase, so to speak. 6 traits that must be cultivated on your journey for a happier, more awesome you. These traits are self-kindness, self-acceptance, self-parenting, self-commitment, self-forgiveness, and self-respect. Through this book and following the exercises within, you will develop your toolkit and strengthen the self-love needed for a happier, more abundant life. So, why self-love? Why is it important? As a clinical psychologist, I've had the great honor of sitting in front of people from every walk of life. I've worked with young women, old men, cancer fighters, trauma survivors, addicts, celebrities, couples, and families. I have seen the strong side of women who were abused as children, abandoned by their fathers, or cheated on by their husbands. I have seen the tender side of men who stand accused of murder and assault. I've sat with divorcing couples as they try to figure out how to avoid damaging their children, and with older parents while they make amends to the adult children they wounded decades ago. Each client I've worked with has been a teacher to me as much as I've been a healer for them. Their stories have become a part of my life story. They have taught me about the spirit of humanity. I have worked with people from many different walks of life whose stories and struggles are vastly different, yet I have seen very distinct themes emerge in each one of their quests for healing. As I bear witness to these journeys, I see how painful life experiences can strip people of their innate ability to feel and practice self-love. My work with clients has become an exercise in finding and rescuing the young person they once were, so they can become the adult they were always meant to be. No matter who the person is or what their life experiences may entail, time and again that journey consistently and predictably winds itself toward the same beautiful destination: love. It has become increasingly clear to me over the years that the secret to happiness lies, above all else, in your ability to love the most important person you will ever know: you. That's why self-love is so important. Your entire life's happiness depends on it. Loving oneself is far more complicated than it may seem. It may appear on the surface that self-love is synonymous with self-esteem, but it isn't quite that simple. Self-love requires more than just holding yourself in high regard. It involves understanding your struggles and weaknesses through a lens of compassion. It insists you speak to yourself with kindness. Self-love mandates that you forgive yourself when you have failed or hurt others. Finally, to truly love yourself, you must be humble, gentle, and meticulous in the way you treat all people, yourself included. Honoring oneself is not selfish or entitled. Sometimes honoring yourself requires setting boundaries that can upset or disappoint others. A self-loving person recognizes this will happen on occasion and knows it is okay. On the other hand, a self-loving person will be able to honor others even when they must disappoint them. If you are genuinely honoring yourself, you will never be cruel or malicious in your intentions or delivery toward others. You will set boundaries in ways that are respectful and gracious without holding yourself responsible for how others receive your limits. What is self-love? I created a simple definition for self-love for this book. Essentially, self-love is the marriage between self-esteem and self-compassion. If we were to examine self-love with a Venn diagram, we would see where the self-respect and confidence of self-esteem merge with the empathic, loving kindness of self-compassion. Before I became a navigator down the road of self-love, I took my own arduous journey. I was lost in a forest of self-loathing and despair. I faced down the monsters of my past and rescued the little girl I was many years ago. I learned how to love her as if she were my daughter. It wasn't until I could look her in the eyes and walk through my adult life holding on to her that I finally let go of my old wounds and became the adult I wanted to be. Since that awakening, I have made the journey countless times with those who come to my office looking for peace of heart. The trek is different for each of us. I have come to be flexible and patient as clients learn to harness their unique set of strengths and tackle their challenges. Each time I take another traveler on the expedition toward happiness, we inevitably wind up on the path of self-love. It is on that path where they become ready to travel the roads without me as their guide. They come to a place where they realize their strength, understand the fullness of their potential, and feel prepared to guide themselves into the life they desire. This is where I intend to take you. I wrote this book with two primary objectives in mind. My first objective is to give you a strong understanding of yourself and your struggles. I will provide you with many case examples that will present a wide range of people and their experiences. I explain how people develop their specific challenges and personal shortcomings based on their unique journeys. I will help you connect to your own story and create an understanding of how your life experiences led to your specific strengths and weaknesses. Following this path will allow you to become gentler and more compassionate toward yourself, so you can develop a kinder inner voice. My second objective is to outline the steps for using your new understanding to rewire the way you see yourself, talk to yourself, and interact with your world. Through this process, you can expect to increase your sense of self-worth, your belief in your capabilities, and your love for yourself. You will recognize the magnificent creation you are and harness your innate power. You will realize your full potential and become the master of your own life. Strap in, we're going for a ride. Part 1. The Wounded Child Inside You. Chapter 1. Your Inner Voice. You really have to love yourself to get anything done in this world. Lucille Ball. We need to discuss the way you talk to yourself. How does the voice inside your head sound? Is it kind and encouraging? Is it boastful and grandiose? Is it, perhaps, critical and demeaning? Your inner dialogue is a compilation of all the points of view you have heard throughout your life. Your parents, or the people who raised you, set the stage for the voice you will use to speak to yourself in adulthood. Other prominent figures also contribute to that voice. Siblings, teachers, coaches, and friends all add pieces to the voice that will eventually sound like your own. If you were fortunate, the people who raised you repeatedly told you that you were valuable and important. They reinforced that your needs mattered and that your voice should be heard and honored. Children need adult caregivers who validate their ideas and feelings and who encourage them to express all emotions, not just positive ones. The most astute parents will not only allow their children to be angry, tired, frightened, hurt, or disappointed, but will also teach their children how to soothe and regulate these emotions. Unfortunately, even the most well-meaning parents often miss this critical life lesson. Usually, it's because they never learned it themselves. As a result, loving parents can still be impatient, critical, selfish, and unresponsive. Parents are, after all, just imperfect people trying their best to traverse an imperfect world. Every person sees the world through the lens of their personal experiences. I try not to be too hard on parents. I understand that most are trying to do right by their children, even when their approaches are ill-informed and unhelpful. It's unlikely that a critical or controlling parent is maliciously trying to create an anxious, insecure child. More likely, they want their child to be responsible and successful, and to make good decisions. They probably don't see how their regular criticism causes their child to be unsure of themselves. I'd like to tell you a story to give this idea more meaning. I'll provide several hypothetical case examples throughout this book. As you hear them, think about how you can relate the concepts to your own life story. Your story may be completely different from the one presented, but the general ideas are applicable to us all. Maria's story. Maria was in her 20s when she decided it was time for a change. She struggled with self-esteem and negative self-talk. She was talented in athletics like her father, who coached her soccer and softball teams when she was a girl. Maria recalled how her father screamed at her on the field, embarrassing her in front of her peers. She noted that even though she was the strongest athlete on the team, her father often appeared frustrated and disappointed in her every time she failed to score or had the ball stolen by another player. She lamented that he ruined her love of sports and made her feel she was only good enough when she was perfect and on point. Maria tried to get validation from her mother when she was young around her hurt feelings, but her mom always defended the actions of her father. She said things like, "He just wants you to be the best," and "He is only hard on you because he loves you." Of course, Maria's parents loved her deeply. Her father's investment in her was genuine. They weren't wealthy, but Maria's parents spent considerable money on her athletic activities, and they were always present for her events. They showed her how much they loved her in many meaningful ways, but they also inadvertently sent her some very damaging messages. Maria's father not only yelled at and embarrassed her on the field, but went into agonizing, detailed lectures after practices and games about what she did wrong. He never intended to make Maria feel that she was worthy only when she was succeeding, but that is precisely what he did. Moreover, her parents sent her the message that criticism is an expression of love. The statement, "He is only hard on you because he loves you," taught Maria to expect those who care about her to continually judge, condemn, and disapprove of her. Accordingly, she not only developed an internal dialogue that was harsh and demeaning, but she came to expect that sort of treatment from others. Maria's mom and dad made an all-too-common mistake of well-meaning parents. Most parents don't want to create self-doubting children who think they are lovable only when they are the best. They certainly aren't trying to teach their kids that they can't trust their own judgment or make them afraid to ever make a mistake. They aren't trying to shape their child into an adult who feels they constantly must prove their worth to others because, internally, they believe themselves not to be good enough. Unfortunately, this is often the unintentional after-effect of critical parenting. Even cases less overt than Maria's can have lasting, damaging effects. Some parents aren't so blatantly critical, but they largely ignore their children unless the children are actively succeeding. Children in these homes learn they must perform to be seen and to get the love and validation they need. In cases like this, they are given the message that they are not innately lovable and worthy, but that love must be earned. Now I want you to think back on the messages you took in about yourself as a child. Hopefully you received plenty of positive affirmations about how smart, talented, and capable you were. It is likely, though, that you also received some unhealthy messages about yourself. These messages are often subtle and enter our identities without our conscious awareness. Identifying the underlying core beliefs we hold about ourselves is a critical first step on the path to self-love. As an example, think for a moment about the messages you took in about your physical appearance. Did you learn you were a pretty girl or a strong boy? Maybe you were chubbier, weaker, or shorter than others. Perhaps you discovered your big nose, frizzy hair, or freckles made you different from other kids. Children long to be accepted, and we often seek sameness with our peers. We learn early on that different is bad, so if you were bigger, smaller, poorer, or quieter than your peers, you probably believed something was wrong with you. In addition to direct verbal messages, you probably internalized beliefs based on nonverbal messages you received in childhood. The examples here are endless. Perhaps you got dirty looks from the popular kids at school. Maybe your mom gave an exasperated sigh when you asked her to play with you, or your dad looked bored and uninterested when you showed him the A you got on your book report. Nonverbal messages can be just as profound and hurtful as verbal messages. Childhood messages create the inner voice we take with us into adulthood. They become the foundation on which other beliefs are laid. As we move through life, we seek to confirm or reject messages we get about ourselves and our environment. Negativity bias. Unfortunately, we often give more weight to the negative messages than the positive ones. Psychologists refer to this as the negativity bias. There is an adaptive function to this human condition. Let's say you have 100 good or neutral experiences with a dog. Then you have one experience in which a dog unexpectedly bites you and causes significant injury. This one experience is going to supersede the many others you have had. This cognitive function serves to protect you. You need to remember the negative experience with more strength so you can protect yourself in similar circumstances in the future. Your brain wants you to put that bad experience in the forefront of your mind so you can keep yourself safe around other dogs you encounter in your life. It is easy to see the adaptive survival mechanism at play in the negativity bias. It keeps us alive, so it's a good thing, but it also creates some challenges for us. The biggest challenge is that our brains are not sophisticated enough to distinguish between physical danger and emotional danger. If children on the school bus call you a loser because your parents can't afford to buy you designer clothes, that experience is going to cause emotional pain. Your brain wants you to remember the painful message so you can develop skills to protect yourself from being called hurtful names in the future. The inner critic is born from that desire to protect yourself. Your brain thinks it can keep you safe from criticism, rejection, and pain if it is constantly pointing out all the things that might be wrong with you. It constantly sends you messages about what you need to do differently to make yourself likable and worthy. It thinks it is helping you, but this thinking is flawed. Listening to your inner critic may make you an adult with a chip on your shoulder, always trying to prove to others that you aren't a loser because deep down you think you are. Perhaps you become an adult who finds your weaknesses intolerable. You may be perfectionistic, overly demanding, and critical. Maybe you push yourself to be the best in everything you do because anything less than perfect is a failure by your standards. Only when you have the best job, live in the best house, drive the best car, and are married to the best spouse will you convince yourself you aren't the loser kid you once were on the school bus. The sad truth is, no amount of external proof will ever convince you that you aren't a loser because you already believe you are. You could become an unfillable pit of self-doubt and insecurity, desperately looking for the next thing to fill you up and make you feel temporarily good enough. Unfortunately, you will just be chasing an insatiable thirst for the rest of your life if you can't learn to fill your wound with self-love. Find your true voice. You need to decipher the many voices in your head. You must filter out the voices of your past that speak in hateful tones and with unkind words. You're never going to be successful at that. You're so stupid. I can't believe you said that. Nobody likes you. Just give up. Whose voice is that? It isn't yours. Yours is a voice of love, encouragement, and determination. Yours is a voice of kindness, assuredness, and gentle strength. It may be buried way down deep. It may have been silent for so many years you don't remember it existing at all. That's okay. It's still in there. We're going to find it. You may be wondering, how do I know which voice is mine? How do you know my original inner voice was kind and loving? All you need to do to answer these questions is spend a little time with a child whose original voice has not yet been tainted by the outside world. One of the sweetest representations of a child's pure delight in themselves is on a once viral video titled Jessica's Daily Affirmation. I have uploaded the video for your viewing pleasure to my website, drheidigreen.com. There you will find a video of an adorable young girl with curly blonde hair talking to herself in the mirror. Sweet Jessica says to herself with enthusiasm, "I like my hair, I like my pajamas, I like my whole house, I can do anything good." Jessica still has her original voice. Her inner voice tells her she is beautiful, strong, capable, and kind. Another easy example is to observe a preschool classroom and ask the children about their talents. Young children will almost always tell you they are good at things with which they have little to no experience. Who is a great artist? Hands go flying up. Who is a fast runner? Hands shoot up again. Children are excited to show off their capabilities no matter what their skill level. Every, "Hey Mom, watch this," kid at the park or public swimming pool can prove that point. The human mind is designed to love and encourage itself, to believe in its capabilities and approach life with enthusiasm and wonder. It is only through painful external experiences that we lose our innate positive mindset. Does a critical voice motivate? People sometimes think the critical voice in their heads is a motivating factor. When I speak of self-kindness, clients often tell me they need their harsh internal voice to motivate them, to keep them from becoming lazy or complacent. I challenge this belief right away with a hypothetical scenario. Let's say you are tasked with teaching a young child to ride a bike. What is your approach? Likely, you will begin with a little pep talk. "Riding a bike is fun. You are so big. You can do it." Then you will sprinkle in some understanding around the child's uncertainty and offer support. "I will be right here the whole time. I'll hold the back of the seat so you don't fall until you can do it on your own." Once the child is up and riding, you offer an enthusiastic celebration. "You're doing it! You're a great bike rider!" Then, when the inevitable first fall happens, you offer both compassion and encouragement. "Are you okay? Let me clean the scratch. You were doing so well. Sometimes falls happen. Don't worry. You can get back up and try again when you're ready. I'm proud of you." When we are being our best adult selves, we don't motivate children by criticizing and insulting them. We don't say to them, "Listen, kid, you're being a wimp. Riding a bike is easy. Just get up and do it." Why don't we speak that way? Because our innate wisdom tells us the way to encourage someone to succeed is to do it through love, not insults, threats, or shame. The response I sometimes next get is, "Well, yes, that might work for a child, but I'm an adult. I'm not going to coddle myself like that." I follow up with, "How do you motivate and encourage a friend?" When you are being a good friend, you offer motivation and encouragement, not unlike you would to a child. You follow a similar script, which includes sharing your belief in them and offering empathy for their doubts and fear. Then you express encouragement and enthusiasm in their favor. We don't motivate our friends with disparaging remarks about what a failure they will be if they can't get it right. We don't tell them they aren't smart enough or talented enough. We don't say to our friends, "Just give up. You don't have what it takes." Think back for a moment to the most valuable mentors you have had in your adult life. Whether a boss, professor, coach, or even a therapist, they each had a positive impact on you because they motivated you with kindness. We value those who believe in us when we don't believe in ourselves. People who offer us guidance, support, and encouragement when we struggle to muster it up for ourselves are the ones we look back on with fondness and gratitude. In Animals Make Us Human, Dr. Temple Grandin discusses how distress impedes learning in animals, just as it does in humans. All mammals innately feel rage, panic, and fear. These emotional experiences interfere with learning and brain development. We know that pressure, criticism, and humiliation from others make us nervous and interrupt learning. But when it comes to talking to ourselves, we can get confused. We might use self-criticism to get something done, and then when we succeed, despite the criticism, we falsely associate self-criticism with effective motivation. In our hearts, we know loving inspiration is the best motivator. It's why we give it to others. It's why we value people who offer it to us. So why do we fail to give it to ourselves? People often talk to themselves in a way they would never speak to another human being. I am guilty of this as well. I know I have been terribly unkind to myself, more so than I would be to a person I seriously disliked. There is only one explanation. That is not my voice. I know my voice. I hear it every day when I speak to people. I am not unkind. I am a good-natured person. My voice is gentle. The ugly noise that shows up in my head belongs to someone else. Likewise, the unloving voice in your head is not yours. It has been planted there by people and experiences that were painful. It is your duty to yourself to reject that voice entirely so you can benefit from the same loving kindness you offer others. Takeaways and talking points. The voice in your head is a compilation of the many voices you have heard throughout your life. Your inner critic is born from your painful experiences. Your brain developed that voice to keep you from experiencing failure and rejection out in the world. Unfortunately for many, that voice gets out of control. To achieve self-love, you must learn to quiet your inner critic and find your original, true voice. This is the voice of encouragement, enthusiasm, and wisdom that has always been inside you. Pack your self-love suitcase with self-kindness. The first item you'll need to bring on your self-love journey is self-kindness. Critical self-talk is fatal to self-love. Gentle, friendly self-talk is the foundation on which self-love is built. although speaking to yourself with kindness may feel unnatural and even silly in the beginning.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?